9 Mile, Jamaica, 1956. 11-year-old Robert Nesta Marley sat in the back of his classroom, humming quietly. His teacher, Mr. Patterson, slammed his hand on the desk. "Marley, stop that noise immediately!" Bob went silent, but inside his head, the melody kept playing. It always did. From the moment he woke up until he fell asleep, music filled every corner of his mind. His mother, Sadella, said it was a gift from God. Mr. Patterson called it a distraction. If you love discovering the untold stories behind music history's most incredible moments, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell because we uncover the hidden gems that shape the legends we know today. But what happened that day in the schoolyard would prove something neither his mother nor his teacher understood yet. Music wasn't just Bob's gift, it was his destiny. And nobody, not even the strictest principal in Jamaica, could stop it. The trouble started during arithmetic. Mr. Patterson was explaining multiplication tables when Bob began tapping his pencil on his desk. Not random tapping, a rhythm, a pattern. The boy next to him, Bunny Livingston, recognized it immediately and smiled. "Marley," Mr. Patterson shouted. "What did I just say?" Bob looked up, startled. "Sir?" The answer, "What is 7 times 8? Bob had no idea. He'd been composing a melody in his head, not listening to multiplication. 49? The class erupted in laughter. Mr. Patterson's face turned red. 56, you foolish boy. 56. And this is why you'll never amount to anything. Your head is full of nonsense instead of knowledge." Bob felt his face burn with shame, but he didn't cry. Even at 11 years old, Bob Marley had learned not to cry in front of people who wanted to break him. After class, Mr. Patterson held Bob back. "Robert, I need to speak with you." Bob stood by the teacher's desk, waiting. "Your grades are the worst in this class," Mr. Patterson said, shuffling through papers. "You fail every mathematics test. You barely pass reading. And you spend all your time singing." He said the word singing like it was something dirty. "But I like singing, sir," Bob said quietly. "Singing doesn't put food on the table, boy. Singing doesn't build houses. Singing doesn't make you a man." Mr. Patterson leaned forward. "Do you know what singing makes you? Poor. Just like your mother. Just like everyone in 9 Mile. Is that what you want?" Bob's jaw tightened. His mother worked harder than anyone he knew. She washed clothes for wealthy families in Kingston. She cleaned houses. She did whatever it took to feed him. She was never poor in spirit, only in money. "My mother isn't poor, sir," Bob said, his voice steady. "She's rich in love." Mr. Patterson laughed. "Love doesn't pay bills, Robert. Now get out of my classroom." Bob walked out into the bright Jamaican sun. His best friend Bunny was waiting by the schoolyard fence. "What did Patterson say?" "He said singing makes you poor," Bob replied. Bunny shook his head. "Patterson doesn't understand anything. My grandfather says music is the voice of the soul. How can your soul make you poor?" Bob smiled. Bunny always knew the right thing to say. The two boys had been friends since they were 6 years old. They spent every afternoon after school sitting under the mango tree, making up songs, creating rhythms with sticks and stones. "Let's go to the tree," Bob said. They ran across the dusty schoolyard to their favorite spot. Under the wide branches of the mango tree, Bob and Bunny had written dozens of songs. Most were silly songs about chickens and rain and girls they liked, but some were serious. Songs about their lives, about struggle, about hope. Bob picked up a stick and began tapping it against a rock. Bunny joined in with a different rhythm. Within seconds, they had a beat. Then Bob started singing. "Teacher man say I'm no good. Teacher man don't understand. But I got music in my blood. I got rhythm in my hand." Bunny laughed and joined in. "Music in my blood. Rhythm in my hand." They sang louder. Other kids heard them and came closer. Within minutes, a small crowd had gathered. Kids were clapping, some were dancing. Even the shy girl from Bob's class, Cherry, was swaying to the rhythm. And then Mr. Patterson appeared. "What is going on here?" His voice cut through the music like a knife. Everyone froze. Bob stopped singing. The schoolyard went silent. "I told you to stop this nonsense, Marley," Mr. Patterson said, walking toward them. "But you defied me. You deliberately disobeyed." "We were just singing, sir," Bunny said. "We weren't hurting anyone." "Silence, Livingston." Mr. Patterson grabbed Bob by the arm. "Come with me, principal's office, now." Bob's heart sank. The principal, Mr. Morrison, was known for his strict punishments. Kids who went to his office came back with welts on their hands from the cane. Mr. Patterson dragged Bob across the schoolyard. Kids watched in silence. Some looked scared. Others looked sorry for Bob. Inside the principal's office, Mr. Morrison sat behind a large wooden desk. He was an older man with gray hair and a stern face. "What has he done?" he asked Mr. Patterson. "Singing again, sir. I've warned him multiple times. He refuses to stop. He's disrupting the entire school." Mr. Morrison looked at Bob. "Is this true, Robert?" Bob nodded. "Yes, sir." "And do you understand that singing during school hours is not permitted?" "Yes, sir." "Then why do you continue to do it?" Bob hesitated. How could he explain? How could he make them understand that music wasn't something he chose to do? It was something he had to do, like breathing. I can't stop, sir," Bob finally said. "The music is always in my head. I try to keep quiet, but it comes out anyway." Mr. Morrison studied Bob for a long moment. Then he said something unexpected. "Mr. Patterson, leave us, please." Mr. Patterson looked surprised, but nodded and left the room. Mr. Morrison stood up and walked to the window. "Robert, do you know why I became a principal?" Bob shook his head. "Because when I was your age, I wanted to be a musician." He turned to face Bob. "I play the trumpet. I was quite good, actually. But my father told me the same thing Mr. Patterson told you. Music makes you poor. So I stopped playing. I became a teacher, then a principal. And I've been miserable ever since." Bob's eyes widened. He never expected this. "I'm going to tell you something, Robert, and I want you to listen carefully." Mr. Morrison sat on the edge of his desk. "Mr. Patterson is wrong. Your gift is not a distraction. It's your purpose, but here's what you need to understand. The world will try to stop you. People who gave up their own dreams will try to convince you to give up yours. And if you're not careful, if you're not strong, they'll succeed." "What should I do, sir?" Bob asked quietly. "You should sing," Mr. Morrison said simply. "But you should also learn to be smart about it. Finish your education. Learn to read and write well. Because one day, when you're famous, you'll need those skills to protect yourself from people who want to take advantage of you." Bob nodded slowly. "Now, I have to punish you because you broke the rules. That's my job. So here's your punishment. For the next week, during lunch hour, you will stand in the schoolyard and sing. Alone. No friends, no audience. Just you and your music. If your gift is real, it will survive being alone." Bob wasn't sure if this was a punishment or a gift, but he agreed. "Yes, sir." The next day at lunch, Bob stood in the center of the empty schoolyard. Everyone else had been told to eat inside the cafeteria. Bob was alone with his voice. He felt scared. What if he couldn't sing without Bunny? What if he needed an audience to sound good? But then he remembered what his mother always told him. "Bobby, when you sing, you're not singing for people. You're singing for God, and God is always listening." Bob closed his eyes and began to sing. No instruments, no rhythm, just his voice. "Sun is shining, weather is sweet. Make you want to move your dancing feet." His voice echoed across the empty schoolyard. At first it felt strange, but then it felt powerful. He wasn't performing, he was praying. Inside the cafeteria, kids pressed their faces against the windows, watching. Mr. Patterson told them to sit down, but they wouldn't. They wanted to hear Bob sing. On the second day, something changed. Bob sang again, alone in the schoolyard. But this time, through the cafeteria windows, he could hear voices joining him. Kids were singing along from inside. Mr. Patterson tried to stop them. "Sit down, eat your lunch." But they wouldn't stop singing. By the third day, Mr. Morrison had to make a decision. Either enforce the punishment strictly or recognize what was happening. The kids weren't being defiant. They were being moved by something real. On the fourth day, Mr. Morrison stood in the schoolyard with Bob. "Sing your song, Robert." Bob sang. And this time, Mr. Morrison opened the cafeteria doors. Kids poured out into the schoolyard. They surrounded Bob, singing with him, clapping, dancing. Mr. Patterson stood in the doorway, furious. "Sir, this is chaos. You're rewarding his disobedience." "No," Mr. Morrison said calmly. "I'm recognizing his gift." By the fifth day, the entire school gathered in the schoolyard during lunch. Not just kids, teachers too. Even the cooks came out of the kitchen. Bob stood in the center, singing song after song. Some he'd written. Some he'd learned from his grandfather. Some he made up on the spot. And for the first time in his life, Bob understood something profound. Music wasn't something people could take away from him. It was something people needed from him. When the week ended, Mr. Morrison called Bob back to his office. "Your punishment is complete, Robert, but I want to give you something." He handed Bob a worn book. "This is a collection of poems by Marcus Garvey. Read it. Study it. Great music needs great words, and great words come from great minds." Bob took the book carefully. "Thank you, sir. And Robert, one more thing. Don't let anyone ever tell you that your gift makes you poor. Your gift will make you rich in ways that people like Mr. Patterson will never understand." Bob Marley kept that book his entire life. Years later, when he was famous, when he was traveling the world, when his music was changing millions of lives, he would tell interviewers about the week he was punished for singing. "They tried to silence me," Bob would say, "but they couldn't. Because music isn't something you do. Music is something you are." Mr. Patterson never apologized. He retired 2 years later, still believing that singing was a waste of time. But decades later, when Bob Marley's One Love played on radios around the world, Mr. Patterson heard it. And for just a moment, sitting in his small house in Kingston, he wondered if he'd been wrong. Bunny Livingston, Bob's childhood friend, grew up to become Bunny Wailer, one of the original members of the Wailers. Years later, in an interview, Bunny said, "The day they punished Bob for singing was the day I knew he was going to be something special. Because they couldn't break him. They tried to silence his voice, and instead, they made it louder." Mr. Morrison attended one of Bob's concerts in Kingston in 1975. Bob saw him in the crowd and stopped the show. "There's a man here tonight who changed my life," Bob told the audience. "When I was 11 years old, he could have broken me. Instead, he gave me a book and told me my gift mattered. Mr. Morrison, where are you?" The old principal stood up, tears streaming down his face. The crowd erupted in applause. After the show, Bob and Mr. Morrison talked backstage. "I'm proud of you, Robert," the old man said. "You proved me right." "No, sir," Bob replied. "You proved that one person who believes in you can change everything." Today, that schoolyard in 9 Mile still exists. The mango tree where Bob and Bunny first sang together is still standing. And every year, on February 6th, Bob Marley's birthday, kids from all over Jamaica gather there to sing. They sing the same songs Bob sang when he was 11. They sing despite being told that music won't pay their bills. They sing because Bob Marley taught them that some things matter more than money. And sometimes, late at night, if you listen carefully, locals say you can still hear it. A young boy's voice echoing across that schoolyard, singing about sunshine and freedom and love. If this incredible story of young Bob Marley fighting for his gift moved you, Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Share this video with someone who's ever been told their dreams don't matter. Have you ever been punished for doing what you love? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to ring that notification bell for more untold stories about the moments when legends were born.